All right. Now, earlier on, I told you we'll be discussing matters to do with electric bus mobility uptake. We've seen quite a number of circles embracing this idea of electric buses. Today, Embasava, took up 4 buses. Yeah. And right now I'm joined by Kelley boss. Welcome to the show, sir. Looking all rugbyish with all blacks here and there. But the first question will be, in terms of mass transportation, is there a potential of Kenya sort of embracing a huge percentage of these companies that operate in this sector embracing electric buses?
For sure there is, and of course new routes means newfound excitement in Kenyans, because whenever you see an electric bike there's always excitement, but there is this issue of, is it practical? So that's where your question comes in. And what we need is infrastructure, and that's what these maybe interim and accelerator companies and startups in Kenya like Basigo and Rome Air are bringing in the solutions, helping guys like Embasava and Metro to get buses in Kenya. Okay. So we are getting charged indeed.
I know, that's quite, it's exciting. New things are quite exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, it feels like, when you have you should have a strategy to sort of conquer the market. Yeah. And two-wheeled, bikes also do hold a lot of potential when it comes to electric mobility. Yes, and they have an advantage, of course. Two-wheelers, traditionally in Kenya, buying a car is buying a second-hand car that has been used from outside. But over 90% of bikes that are on the road are usually fresh from the showroom. So that's an advantage for them, because it's not a big, especially price difference. And for a boda the price to go electric, he won't have to have maybe, new technology means more taxes. That's why a new bus that is electric is really expensive, even if it's still used from outside. So a fresh, something that people are used to buying from locally is good. And then secondly, of course, there's this issue of maintenance. And the fact that boda would really look at it practically. You see, range for a car or a bus is really important in going electric. So for a bike, you'd get a bike goes for 80 kilometers, and that's really like half a day for a boda guy. And there's stuff like battery swapping, and maybe you can charge it at home for 50 shillings and your battery is full. And so that compared to 150 for gasoline is really like something. Definitely. And Kelley, before we come and close that conversation, right now I just want to take a look at this particular issue of electric buses. If we may just take a look at the unveil this morning, where we are seeing companies embrace electric buses. What do the drivers think? What do the SACCO players think? What does the government think in regards to this issue of electric buses, and the 4 that have been uptaken, of course, by Embasava from Basigo? Let's listen.
As business and investors, because of Basigo, we should be able to have more money than we used to have with the diesel buses. So it's a good venture, and it's also helping in terms of addressing the issue of climate. So it is a good venture to get into, and we appreciate this kind of a venture. And going forward, this is the way to go.
Kumbia kwa magari zingine yenye nimeenda nazo iko very better na iko comfortable na iko na side mirror kubwa, inakuonyesha ukubwa ya gari, size ya gari, unaweza penya pale yoyote tu.
We originally imported 2 buses which have been running from last year, and those are still running, and then we brought in another 15 at the end of last year, and all those 15 have now been given to different, or been placed with different SACCOs. So some of the SACCOs, like today's Embasava, we have some with Super Metro, Metro Trans, City Hopper, and Youth Shuttle, and Oma services. So we've got quite a number of SACCOs that have actually, and transport companies that have actually embraced this. We've got a big waiting list of others. Even the ones who've already taken would like some more.
The government supports electric mobility and is promoting it as a way of addressing climate change. We all know that emissions from motor vehicles contribute to poor air quality and negative effects of climate change. So we are therefore here basically to encourage Embasava team and Basigo to continue facilitating a provision of electric vehicles in our economy.
All right. So you've heard that, Kelley.
Yeah.
And one of the concerns, even in my ear, part of our crew here, they're really concerned about, this bus. Do they do one squad, then wanaenda wanacharge, then battery kianza ku reduce, the wanazima AC, kind of thing. There's so much imagination around electric buses. What do we know about the efficiency of this kind of buses?
Right. So good question now, first of all. But what you have to realize is Nairobi is a very compact city as it is, because it's 30 by 30 kilometers. And that is really compact, fit with around 5 million people in it. So the distances these buses would cover is not so much, and they come with really good range. So it's not like one trip is enough so maybe it can go half a day with charge. So that's something that the city has an advantage on.
That's amazing. So in terms of long haul, moving all the way to the thickers of this world, to the Kitengelas, all there.
So maybe not thick. I don't know about thick. I don't know if there is a charging station down there, but having a charging station down there would really work. And I think the posture of the government right now is really good in maybe supporting, the charge towards e-mobility, which is really good, but it's not like something has happened on the ground. It's just that at least compared to the previous one, there's this conversation in the cabinet, which is really good.
That's a good one. There's that imagination. Also, how long does it take to charge? Is it only overnight? We've had discussions about replace the batteries, maybe replacing. Then you leave that one to charge, you just place another one. The cost element of it becomes very. Is it too expensive? What does the industry say, especially players who are using the conventional buses?
So it's very expensive to acquire an EV, but it's pretty cheap to use it and maintain it. So for example, a bus, would cost around 20 shillings, just under 20 shillings per kilometer. That's an electric bus for fuel. And then for an ICE engine bus would go for nearly 40 shillings. So that's nearly double, or nearly you save 80% of the amount that you're using. So that's really good. And then the maintenance also doesn't require so much maintenance because the engine is not so packed and not so many moving parts. So there is an advantage, but the problem is buying it is the expensive bit.
Definitely. But
I'm sorry. Which, like Rwanda, I think the government would take up some of the things Rwanda has done in putting in good taxes. And I'm glad also our government has done some things, because in the last review by Kenya Power by EPRA, there was some tariffs that came out, an EV tariff. So for example, if Noah owns an EV, there is this night tariff that is much cheaper than a person who uses the grid when it's really busy, like right now. So you get power at a cheaper price, because that's that's more demand for power. So that's like a good direction we're headed.
That's beautiful.
Right.
Kelley boss, always a pleasure.
Thank you.
I know you're a rugby fan. You don't have to put it on our faces. You're an All Blacks fan. Look at you. But good to see you, man. I really appreciate it. All right.
Thanks.
So that is Matters EVs. We want to transition into something different. Talk about business.